Welcome back, everyone, to the LCS. The teams are ready and making their final preparations on stage for our one and only tiebreaker here tonight.
Who would have thought?
Team Impulse versus Renegades. It's not 10 of them, but it's okay. It's a battle for 8th versus 9th place hanging on the balance. If you want to know what that means, it means basically, do you face Apex in the first round if you lose of the promotion tournament, or do you await the winner of Team Dragonates versus Team Dignitas if you win, which is a better seed in the bracket overall. These teams also played each other really recently. It was yesterday. Renegades won that one. In fact, Renegades have won 4 of the last 5 games. A lot of that because of Ninja in the mid lane.
Yeah, and these guys are definitely on different paths. For Team Impulse, it's a losing streak. For Renegades, it's a winning streak, and a lot of that does have to do with Ninja. You know, he's come in along with a trade from Seraph. It's very easy to tunnel on Seraph and be like, yo, this dude is 5-2, or I think it's 6-2 in the LCS this split.
Yeah.
But he also came to this team with Ninja. So both of these guys have been performing a lot, and surprisingly, with great solo lanes in this team, Crumbs has looked a lot better in the jungle as well. So Renegade's definitely looking much better in the very end of the split here.
Yeah, and Crumbs himself has credited the incredibly strong work ethic of the squad. They play more scrims than almost any other team here in North America. 3 scrim blocks, for those who are curious, is on the high end. It's usually about 3 games against another team.
Yeah. Most teams do 2 scrim blocks per day
Right.
because they need to work in other types of training and solo queue and just actual life.
Right. But these guys are playing roughly 9 hours of dedicated team-on-team practice outside of what their normal regimen is, which, again, is a lot here. And they've done it for 3 weeks straight, basically every day, no rest, no breaks, and they've been rewarded for that. Again, winning a ton of the last few games. This was the team that everyone called Relegades because they were, 1-9. They were guaranteed to be last place, and yet, well, no, they're not. They're picking up a whole bunch of wins now, taking out some pretty top teams. They beat TSM, and here they are looking to at least climb into 8th, which is a much better spot than they were in.
Yeah, and Team Impulse is going to want to stay in 8th. I mean, they actually had playoff aspirations earlier on in the year, but it's been this long losing streak for them. And even in their last game today against Immortals, they got a lot of early kills on Wild Turtle, but MASH was not able to transition any of that into the team fight phase, which has been kind of a recurring problem for Team Impulse.
Yeah.
Some poor team fighting, as well as poor early games. There's been a lot of problems for Team Impulse, and you know, they would like to be able to end the season on a slightly positive note as they prepare for the promotion tournament.
Yeah, and they can, of course, hope to keep their spot here in the North American LCS with maybe a better seed helping that one. So the teams are about ready to go. We're going to look into sort of how this game's going to play out. We talk about what Impulse has been about, and it's been weak early games. They've had a couple of bright ones. They pulled a win in Week 7 against Energy, number 5 team in NA, by getting a good early game. Proxon's ganks came out, and then they played a really strong rotation game where they just clamped that game down, and it was almost no trouble at all. But that's rare form for TIP. They've had such a hard time getting through the early game. Renegades have had great early games, and now they're actually closing them out.
Yeah, that is very true. Of course, we've already seen these teams today. No need for those starting lineups. Interesting that we see a Lissandra ban very early from Team Impulse, but they know what Seraph can do on Lissandra. He played it for them and won a game with it earlier on in the year against Cloud9.
Yeah. Meanwhile, no Callista for MASH. He had 1 lane with it just earlier today, so that's off the table for him. No Nilly for Proxon. Of course, no surprise that junglers would first pick that. Trundle off the field. Hakuho had a strong Trundle performance as the support, getting rid of tanks in the top lane. Feng has played almost exclusively tanks himself.
Yeah.
The last half of the split here. Actually, I take that back. He's played actually quite a number of Graves games, which is now the other ban. So there we go, trying to remove some options from Feng as they also ban one of the counter picks to when he does play tanks.
Yeah, and it's kind of unfortunate that Renegades feels the need to ban that, but they thought it would be first pick because Seraph has had some great Graves games as well. Curious to see what Seraph plays here, as most of the champions that he has played in the LCS are currently banned. Lissandra, Lulu, and Graves.
True. Might have to shift around a little bit here. And as time ticks down, we look at the first pick, which is kind of unsurprisingly the quirky hover so far. Again, it remains a flex pick between mid lane and the AD carry position. Impulse taking their time with what this one's going to be.
Yeah, don't see anything wrong with picking Corki this early. Don't have to worry about getting counter, can always swap him down to later. And they force the opponent team to respect the flex.
So Renegades will hopefully not make the mistake of picking in Azir in the first 2 rounds and giving away the chance at a Zed counter pick. That won't happen. Poppy in the top lane for what likely is Seraph. Crumbs on that at this point. Trademark Gragas here, playing a whole lot of that one himself. He should feel pretty comfortable in this champion. So a tank wall already up in the front line for Renegades. We'll see what's behind it later.
For sure. Really good, solid front line. Can never even count out Ninja playing Zed as well. Zed would be okay into Corki, actually. A couple teams have banned Zed against Renegades since Ninja's joined the lineup.
But Impulse still going to make their choices, and Zed you don't expect to be a blind pick for a while here, so maybe it'll come in the counter later on. Impulse now grabbing their own tanks. There's no rush in grabbing these, really, with Gragas already grabbed. Rek'Sai is uncontested, and might not even go for that one anyway. Nautilus, still solid. Top lane or support can work just fine there. I prefer top lane personally, and with Trundle off the table, it makes Nautilus feel a lot better in the top lane.
Yeah.
And yeah, that alongside Kindred here for Proxen.
Nautilus had been super, super strong in the top lane. Now I just say he's strong.
Just strong.
In the top lane. The Riptide nerfs actually take a significant chunk of damage out of him in the late game where he's using it on such a low cooldown. And I think it puts Poppy a full tier above the Nautilus. In fact, I think it puts Trundle above Nautilus as well, which is why Trundle's banned and they default back to the Nautilus. But he still has a lot of his core functionality. Great CC bot, huge tank.
Definitely true. Impulse actually assembling part of the composition they actually had when they faced Renegades earlier. The Corki and Nautilus were part of that composition. Similarly, Renegades had a Sivir for themselves, and well, we'll see what else comes through here. They had played a Pope composition the last time around, and Ninja had a very great Varus game. Sivir I always support as the pick. I think she's a wonderfully strong AD carry, but they're going to wait for now. Blind picking a Gangplank is a bit of a surprise.
Yeah.
And they will go Lucian alongside.
That is a huge surprise. It cuts them into all physical damage.
I think they're baiting Poppy support to give Seraph Gangplank into Nautilus, which is a very good matchup for Gangplank. You just don't get wrecked. Poppy support's not the best, but you know what? I think that's the choice they're going for here. No, Gangplank for Seraph.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, especially with Nautilus being locked in on the other side. Too easy to get 400 armor on that champion. You would be foolish to pick all Gangplank physical damage solo lanes into someone who's already locked in Nautilus. So yeah, I think that's a Poppy support.
Well, we'll see if that's the case right here as the picks come through finally for Impulse. Gate gets his Bard once again. There's the Azir in the mid lane. Now what's funny is we saw Shifter pick Gangplank into Azir and get really heavily punished in the game against, I forget who it was actually, I'm blanking here. CLG, I believe it was, who he's Azir. And now you see Pyrian picking Azir into what he thinks is Gangplank mid, but I think Renegades have a trick up their sleeve.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if the mind games are quite exactly this, but if they were trying to do the Poppy support, they still, and they're actually hoping to play Zed into Azir, they kind of can't, because that would then also give them an all physical damage team potentially against Nautilus, or they could just think they're going to play Zed mid, crush the lanes, win the game early.
Right.
But that is conflicting goals when you have a Gangplank top lane and a Zed mid lane. So
that's the funny thing is, like, all the traditional counter picks right now to Azir and the current sort of strong suited champions are physical damage. Varus mid, physical. Zed mid, physical. And there's no AP cog from way back when. It will be Zed after all. It is the Gangplank top IP support. So, chat, we called it. Give me a fist bump for that one. We are awesome at Champ Select. We saw it coming. Hakuho on the support Poppy. Many supports have shied away from playing this one because of the base damage nerfs she received. And we'll see how she does up against Bard. Ninja is going to get pretty much an eponymous champion here with Zed coming into the mid lane. Pyrian will have to run Exhaust on Azir to survive the matchup, and we'll see if he goes Arm Guard into Rylai's or just a full Zhonya's.
And ultimately, with the way that Team Impulse is built on this team, even though Renegades is all physical damage, Renegades is basically saying either Feng carries this game or we don't care about being all physical damage. And based on previous results, Feng hasn't carried any games in the North American LCS, so that's why I think Renegades is okay going Gangplank Zed for their solo lanes.
And it's still scary damage. These guys do have Armor Pen as part of their kits. You can see Black Cleaver come out from Zed without too much worry either. And, you know, we'll just see what the lineup ends up being here and the itemization choices and just how far ahead Feng can even get. Seraph should feel pretty confident getting a matchup he would have loved to have in the first place. Gangplank and Nautilus feels great. And the coaches walk off stage for their final game of the regular season / tiebreakers here on the LCS stage. They'll be in promo tournament for sure. And we're going to see who can take 8th place. You guys at home, let us know who it's going to be. Tweet at LOL Esports the hashtag TIP winner, hashtag REN win for which squad is going to claim 8th here at the end of regular season play. Azir, Corki, Bard, Nautilus, Kindred versus Gangplank, Gragas, Zed, Lucian, Poppy. Brought out a bit out of order, but here we go. There's their logos on the screen. The crowd is here ready to watch. We're here ready to commentate. These teams are ready to battle. And here we go with our final game the regular season.
We got ourselves a tiebreaker.
Yes, we do.
We were actually expecting many more tiebreakers today, but with the way the chips fell, it is just the tiebreaker between Renegades and Tip for 8th place. Nonetheless, it's an important momentum-building game, as well as just giving them an easier path back into the LCS.
Yeah. And getting back in is going to be what matters here. As Renegades hope to win this game and very rapidly, in about 5 games of work, climb from 10th to 8th, which is honestly a pretty big deal. It helps quite a bit in your chances of staying in the league. Seraph, starting very greedily, by the way, actually went Sapphire Crystal Refillable Potion. That is roughly as aggressive as you can start on Gangplank, wanting to start the Sheen as fast as possible.
Yeah.
And never have to buy new potions.
We'll see how Seraph can speed up. I mean, especially with the Zed and the fear of Team Impulse being able to stack armor on maybe the Bard and the Nautilus, he would want to get that fast start on the Gangplank, especially because they very clearly wanted that matchup of Gangplank versus Nautilus. Something where Gangplank can usually freely farm in.
Definitely true. So Renegades with a solid draft, getting matchups they think are going to work, and the only real difficulty is if the armor stacking comes to bite them in the end. That's otherwise a pretty beautiful draft by them. Renegades hoping to catch the invade, but they kind of dance around each other and trade damage. First damage comes out. Hakuho should have gotten 10 gold from that if he was running Bandit, which he should be.
Yeah. Or if he was running Spell Thieves.
Yeah, Spell Thieves Poppy.
Poppy.
That's the real way to play League of Legends.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so we get the standard lanes. Technically,
this is a super weak lane by Renegades, by the way. They have very, very little pressure. Mash and Gate can just auto-attack freely for basically ever.
Yeah, Poppy support, it's another reason we haven't seen much of it. It has gank assistance if they get early ganks from Crumbs, but aside from then, they're just going to be shoved in by Mash and Gate.
And Hako is going for the gank assist build, by the way. Instead of going like Bond of Stone or something and trying to be tanky, he is going Thunderlords with the Hybrid 10 Mastery in that tree in Cunning. So he's hoping to get some burst damage for when Gragas comes down to that lane.
Yeah, and there's going to be some conflict down bottom side, actually. The mark for Kindred has spawned in the river as Scuttlecrab, and this is actually really fortunate for Proxen. This should be a very easy first mark pickup for him.
He's got Smite
mainly
too.
because his dual lane is so advantageous right now. Even if Crumbs wanted to come down, he'd be getting 3v1'd. So, yeah, just super fortunate.
Feels good, man. Plus 70 gold and 1.25% current health damage on hit. Proxen can feel pretty good about getting some nice farm early on. Oh, missed the auto attack. Fang taking plenty of damage, and Seraph letting him on fire. Oddly enough, actually does work against Nautilus, though he was submerged.
Yeah, and Seraph didn't actually take the best of that trade.
Yeah, he lit a shield on fire.
I mean, he's... yeah, and guess what? He gets it back in 10 seconds.
Yay!
15 seconds, I think. I wanted. But with the Monocrystal refillable potion start from Seraph, that also means that Feng will have more sustain, because he's going away for the corruption potion. So, not really sure why Seraph felt the need to get so aggressive. We'll be recalling back.
Because he just feels so good when you blow up a Bale. You're like, oh yeah, I got the slow on him. I'm going to do this thing to him. And he he has cooldowns. So Seraph with an early recall on just Sheen. But that does mean his teleport is down. That can be called. And we'll see if Impulse are able to play around the fact that that cooldown is down. But otherwise, it does mean that Seraph has quite a bit of a lane advantage.
Yeah,
I guess that's why he traded.
Yep, got the Sheen. Mission successful. That's why he started with Monocrystal and refilled the pot. And then he very quickly refills his potion. Counter is a Cloth Armor and Health Crystal up top. And with the teleports being burned, that looks like Crumb's first order of business. Fang exposed himself a little bit too, but it's also still a little early game Gangplank.
Yeah.
So,
well, 139 damaged out there. Body Slam lands. Fang flashes. And he will anchor toss to safety. The Dredge Line keeping him alive, but losing a lot of health and a Summoner Spell.
Right. Very rarely will you kill someone as Gangplank in the early game.
Yeah.
Even with gank assistance. But they burn the flash, and they're kind of guaranteeing Seraph a safer laning phase and throwing Freeze and Hakuho to the Wolves. But they're doing all right, CS-wise.
Yeah, and speaking of throwing things to the Wolves, Proxen getting another one. Thankfully, Wolf is choosing targets very properly, and 2 Rift Scuttlers in a row makes him feel quite nice. The hunt target is otherwise Gragas, and maybe he'll find himself in a fight against the Renegades jungler, but it's okay. So top lane's doing kind of badly for Impulse. Bottom lane's not doing great for Renegades. Jungle's going great for Proxen. So, you know, trade of advantages right now.
You're absolutely right. If you think about the super late game, especially when he's picking up all those kindred marks, it would favor Team Impulse. So I actually think Renegades needs to win this game a little bit earlier.
Well, they're trying right now as they head into the bot lane, looking for the body slam flash, which hits Mash actually, not Gate. And he has to flash to safety, but that is 2 flashes burned by Impulse for the flash of Crumbs.
I actually think Crumbs could have burned both flashes without burning his own flash.
I think so,
just
too.
by walking close and then using the body slam and forcing them to flash away. But instead, he gets both flashes, doesn't get the other defensive summoners. And since Crumbs did burn his own flash, it would make a repeat gank still pretty difficult because they'd have to be fighting up against heal and exhaust. So summoner spell forcing ganks from Crumbs, but because he didn't actually get any full kills, I think that favors Team Impulse.
Definitely agree here. So they're going to still feel pretty okay in this bottom lane as you see plenty of Thunderlord's blessings and fun things from there. Strength of the Ages, even on attack damage junglers like Kindred, you're still seeing that Master be chosen because, look, you're still going to be partially in the front line. For those who are playing Kindred at home, yeah, Strength of Ages, I think definitely a great mastery, and continuing to play the Devourer style as well.
Yeah, I have still seen Fervor on Kindred.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the only jungler I still see not take Strength of Ages, only because you are building the attack speed in a lot of cases, and the added damage is really good if you're trying to bully someone very early in the jungle. Like level 3, level 4, getting your fights out, because at that point, Strength of Ages is giving about 30 health, and you're going to get more from Fervor over the duration of a kill.
All right, it's going to give you 2 stacks on a spell hitting, and oh, here comes the all into the mid lane, and Ice is 0 ulti to buy some time. Deathmark is on, and a barrier is going to block that pretty cleanly. Even though Crumbs showed up, Ninja lost that fight heavily, and here comes the team. Proxen's in for first blood. Thank you very much. Great job, Team Impulse.
Yep, big early play by Impulse, and that's the 3rd gank from Crumbs that leads to no kills. And the very first gank from Proxen gets him a kill after hard farming. That is the dream scenario for Kindred. Like, this is actually the dream game so far. You get 2 good Scuttlecran spawns, you pick up 2 very early stacks.
Get a first
like,
blood.
oh, you know, I'm level 6. I'm just going to walk in, pick up this blood bar. It's going to help me, and counter jungle the red.
Well, this is the thing is, this is like jungling 101. Your first gank usually burns a flash. Then you go back and kill that person who has no summoners anymore. All Crumbs has done is run around like, okay, well, I burned top flash, I burned bot lane's flashes, now I burned mid lane flashes, and by the time he revisits Fang, he's got flashback. Crumbs outsmarting himself. He's making too many lanes.
Yeah, trying a little bit too hard to have early game pressure. Although his CS is actually decent at 30. Gragas has a lot of freedom to get some ganks off without losing too much CS. But I absolutely agree with you, Freak. Get a repeat gank in the top lane, or get a repeat gank to the bottom lane. Instead, he's been trying to dip into these little tiny power spikes like, oh, Fang just teleported, I should gank him to push him out of wave. Or, oh, Zed is level 6, we should try and kill Pyrian in the mid lane. But it just hasn't been working out. And
what's funny with Crumbs here is he's cleared his own jungle enough that there's not a lot of other places the Mark can spawn than Scuttle Crab. And just, I'm sure there's some luck involved. I haven't been watching that closely, but if wolves are always dead and Krugs are always dead, that's never going to be where Wolf chooses its mark. So I think he's helping Proxen a little bit. I'm getting a bit off track with like misplays that aren't misplays from Crumbs.
Yeah, I don't think that's an optimization path against Kindred. Like, don't farm your own jungle.
I've actually heard of players who will, or coaches who will tell me a good jungler was like, oh, it's on Krugs, he'll never get that, and they'll leave Krugs up all game.
So if a mark spawns in your own jungle, sometimes it's the right play not to farm it. But I never think it's the right play
to just never
leave
farm
camps up in the hope that you get a mark spawn.
I buy that. I think that's correct.
Yeah, that's just handicapping yourself.
And sadly, unlucky for Crumbs, hasn't been able to get those marks to spawn somewhere. Poor for Proxen. Bot wave clearing back and forth, flashes up very soon. Actually, gates at about 30 seconds, mash in about a minute. And we haven't seen that repeat gank from Crumbs, sadly. And the thing is, Hakuho can completely stuff Valkyrie with Steadfast Presence. Like, there are no escape tools for mash if they were to make this gank happen from the right situation. Hasn't happened here. Great defensive pink ward right on your screen there. Proxen can keep clearing the wards away and ensure that Crumbs can never sneak in. As Seraph just farms this top lane. Look, he's up 15 CS. That's nice, but
that was the benefit of the early gank that Crumbs gave in the top lane, because it pushed Fang back in wave when he didn't have teleport, so it made him play very passively for a while. Seraph will continue to farm up and hopefully gets a power spike around Trinity Force time. So by no means is this game falling out of the hands of Renegades.
Absolutely not.
Still only 400.
And that is a small difference. Here comes Crumbs with his repeat gank towards the mid lane. His flash is up. Pyrian's is not.
Yeah.
Zed ulti's up. There's a soldier forward that's queued down. Crumbs takes a chug. Is this the play?
Yep, that's the play.
And a great response. Pyrian WE backwards, not even a problem. Blue team has slain the dragon. No steal attempt for Hakuho, can quite manage it. Tried to ult, didn't get it. Great job. Team Impulse getting farther ahead now. The first dragon of the game.
Absolutely. Very good reflexes in the mid lane by Pyrian, and that bought a lot of time from Crumbs, in which Chip could take that dragon. And also, the Devourer was stacked up, so Proxen's adding everything up very quickly. 3 marks to the Kindred and many Devourer stacks already. Going for some more. That missed.
Tempered Fate won't land, but it might mean that Freeze in a bad spot. Has to flash it away, pops the culling, and Matt says you're right. I'm sorry about this one. Gangplank ulti to the backside. There's a knockback outside the Lamb's Respite. Very low health bars on Impulse. They get the heal. Here comes the battle. Mash is going to go down. So is his support. Great gank by Renegades.
Yeah, and it was actually a counter gank. It was a very poor gank early by Team Impulse, missing the Bard ult and then continuing to move in against a team that has Gangplank and teleport available.
Yeah.
So really, there was no way that was working out well for Team Impulse after the Bard ult missed. Freeze returned a lot of damage at the very start, and this puts Renegades in the lead.
Good stuff by them. The turret's going to balloon that lead even farther. It was 1,000, now make that 2,000. Spotling goes down. Freeze is going to be rich, and he's going to have basically entirely Essence Reaver.
Yeah, so as you can see, Proxen goes way up in here, and Crumbs is just able to walk in from the river to make it an even 3v3. Teleport's not matched by Nautilus. I don't even think it should have been, because the fight was pretty much lost.
Yeah.
And the kills go over to the 2 carries that Renegades want them to. One on Gangplank, one on Freeze.
And unfortunately by Impulse, I thought they could capitalize on the fact that Proxen was ahead. Hey, I got Swifties. Hey, might have hours in my inventory. I've got all these stacks for my passive. I do so much damage. But they magical journeyed when Renegades could just see them and walk backwards. It was just overly forced. And, well, Impulse giving away 2 kills in a turret. So Renegades can feel good about the fact that Crumbs got in the lane in time, and it was a good turnaround. Battle for 8th place still afoot here as Ninja's Zed counterpick has actually not done anything right now. Pyrian is ahead.
Yep. He was keeping it relatively even early, so Zed doesn't actually become that great into Azir until Zed gets the ultimate, because
You just get pushed in until then.
yeah, you get pushed in until then, and then as soon as he tried to push back out, Proxen was there for the counter gank. So really, Ninja hasn't had an avenue in. Pyrian's gone sans boots. Instead, he's just rushing the Zonias, which is exactly what he needs to do.
Yeah. And we'll see as that continues. Gate and Proxen clearing wards away with a pink ward pretty aggressively in that lane, and they're going to look to move in towards where Crumbs is. And yes, they do land the stun. It actually, so the first half of Q hit him before Body Slam started, and then it tagged the wall afterwards. And it looked funny, but that is the mechanic of how Bard Q works. Again, looks weird, but it was a stun nonetheless. No pressure on the bot side, though. Blue buff will not be stolen away or anything. Pyrian just clearing wards away with his pink in the top side, and trying to keep Ninja stuck under turret, who has Maw of Immortius himself for plenty of offensive and defensive stats. Should survive Azir reasonably well, as Pyrian continues to last hit successfully. Gate pushing farther and farther forward. They have Proxen behind, so they can here to show some threat. But at the end of the day, they just magical journey out, and Renegades will not follow them through the wall. Still the 2,000 gold game as Impulse start to play the rotation game. Top lane battle, first of all, as Fang is still trading quite closely with Seraph. Look, he lost his flash very early on due to a Crumbs gank. Was able to keep up and farm anyway, and look what Sunfire and Corrupting Potion is doing all right. Zed ulti back in on Pyrian, plenty of damage dealt there. Azir has to flash away, explosive cast, and knock him down the Lamb's Rest, but nice stuff. The heal comes through, Zed running away. Proxen on the chase, can't quite catch him, but it does mean that Pyrian is now going to go down. Crumbs smartly ganking the mid lane, making it happen.
Yeah.
Good turnaround.
Ninja could not stick around because it would have been his death. Smart job by Renegades to stick right there, and they win the 2v2 this time around. That's very beneficial. They burn all summoners were burned that could be burned in that fight. Yeah, the Maw coming in super critical for Ninja there.
Really, really big deal. Sadly for Proxen, just couldn't get enough damage down to secure that one. You watch that fight again.
Yeah, we missed the very start of it. The Azir ultimate is missed, which really hurts him. And then Ninja dodges away from Proxen's damage, and very nearly Renegades knock Pyrion out temporarily, but then the turret shot landed once he was back inside the Lamb's Respite. And then Crumbs is able to get the auto attack kill before dashing away.
Yeah.
Proxen could have gotten a little bit closer to the wall. He could have blocked Crumbs' body slam, but
I think so.
it was not to be.
And unfortunately for him, he chose to chase the Zed instead of just staying on top of Crumbs. And it's a defensible choice. I thought he nearly had the guy, but I think if he had stayed on Crumbs, maybe that fight could have turned around and been a 1-for-1. But it's Renegades continue to push farther ahead. Sadly, Seraph cannot quite one-shot cast him into the barrel. It's so satisfying when you can, but he needs a little bit more attack damage so that happens. As he moves towards, I think, Essence Reaver is his next build. Renegades controlling the bot side, pushing in.
Yeah. And even though we're saying Feng is staying pretty close with Seraph and Farm, the 1 kill, 1 assist, 1 turret, and all the plundered gold gives Seraph a 1,200 gold lead against Feng, which is quite substantial.
That is a 24% or 25% gold lead here. It's 48k to 6k on those two members. Feng still building as tanky as he can, going towards a Glacial Shroud for some armor and cooldown reduction to, again, spam those Riptides and try to keep up in the battle. But look at Renegades pushing down to the bot side. Hakuho and Freeze, survived a fairly rough early laning phase, are now up 30 minions and dodging away from the Fate, knocking this turret down.
Great recovery from, well, they didn't really have to recover. They've just been fine the whole time.
Yeah,
Magic Gate were not able to punish that lane at all. Now Fang's actually a little bit far up. There's no game.
Oh, look at that flash by Crumbs, the no-look knockback. That's going to do plenty of damage. Gate forced to run away with no summoners left up. Crumbs in the front line, a lot of damage towards Fang, that Nautilus, who flashes in, catches Ninja. A lot of damage in on there. They're going for that play. Oh no! He gets betrayed! And one hit will do it. Oh, scumbag Hakuho!
That was a series of unfortunate events. Ninja used Death Mark on a target that got hit by the Poppy ultimate, therefore flew into the turret. He did take it back right afterwards, but
after a half second,
that sucked for him.
Turret shot too. Pyrion going in, still the smite lands for Crumbs, so despite the death, Renegade's able to grab an objective, but here comes the soldiers and down goes Crumbs. He dies for the sin of taking down Dragon. Map control to Impulse, they can push in. It looks like mid-outer could be theirs. Freeze is going to lose his recall. Hakuho's still low as well, so Renegades don't even have the health bars to recover on the map. But Seraph is still pushing top lane, so mid-outer's dead, but look at top tier 2. There's plenty of damage being dealt by that Gangplank.
Yep. Seraph loves the split push, but this game is equalizing pretty quickly. Any little advantage we thought Renegades had was given away at that Dragon there. Seraph gets it though, another 400 gold in his pocket.
Has flash, has teleport.
Can he escape?
Can he? Here comes Gate, who can, by the way, get one shot by a lucky crit, so he's got to be careful here. Misses the Q barrel. Whoa. Okay, he's fine for now.
Yeah. Da-da-da.
Seraph has flash, gets away. Woo. All right, so flash down. It's a cooldown missing. Bot lane outer did go down, so 2 outer turrets picked up.
Yeah.
What a good
nice
flash.
job by Crumb.
Really good
Body
flash.
slam, pre-magical journey. And then we're about to witness the greatest betrayal as Poppy Ult is charging up. Hakuho, as Ninja's like, you know what? I should ult to escape some of this damage. Actually, I'm going to go over there now. And then he tries to take it back half second later and dies. Ah, poor guy.
Yep.
I mean, they both had the right idea.
Sure.
Just not the right
Get rid of the Kindred, she's scary. Oh god, no, not that way.
Don't take damage.
Yeah. Okay, chat, did you know?
You told me about this before the day.
Yeah, I was prepping you to get ready for a did you know.
I haven't heard did you know this? Okay, it's going to be fine. For the
Yeah. No, they're fine. Don't worry, Renegades.
What is the did you know? I'll see if I know.
Hakuho picked his screen name after a Mongolian sumo wrestler.
Was it a famous Mongolian sumo wrestler?
Yeah, he's really good apparently.
Is he also nicknamed Haku? Because that's what he wanted to change his name to? Like Haku is Haku?
No, Hakuho is his first name.
Okay. All right, I did not know that.
Yep. Ooh, oh! Flash by Freeze, but it still means that the sumo wrestler Hakuho has to run away and will be fine. To further the story, Hakuho, the player, the one on Renegades, was a wrestler in high school and decided he was really interested in sumo wrestling. And Hakuho is one of his favorite sumo wrestlers.
Interesting.
So there you go. A cool did you know?
Yeah. Like looking at the player cam of Hakuho, you would not expect him to be a sumo wrestler.
No, nor Mongolian.
But you know, neither of those things. Yeah. I mean, I was a little hyped for your Did You Know. It's okay.
It's only okay. I think it's a pretty sweet story.
It is a good story.
Thank you.
I don't know if it needed to be like a Did You Know, because those are normally like cool facts about like data and stuff. It's like
This is a cool fact.
Did you know?
You're
Ash
dissing
went to
Hackman?
high school and really liked biology. Like,
Okay, fair. GG, chat 1-0.
although you have been confirmed, production confirmed that Hakuho is a sumo wrestler, so your Did You Know is at least correct.
Yeah.
So that's good.
I Googled it 'cause I wasn't sure if he was trolling me or not.
Okay, half correct. I'm not sure if he's Mongolian.
Definitely was. I Googled that
Okay,
too.
there we go.
That was like the first line of the bio. All right, Impulse and Renegade still pretty close in this one. 3,000 gold difference, 2,000 gold difference, depending on when you're checking. It is. Renegade's holding a much better line in this game. Their farm's starting to really balloon ahead. Gangplank up 30, plus is Gangplank. Mints a lot of coins. And yeah, the AD carry as well of Freeze, who's continued to have incredibly high farm numbers all season long.
Yeah, he really has. Even when Renegades was going through the huge losing streak, Freeze was still performing at a very high level and never lost confidence.
Yeah.
Seraph as well is looking to just kind of slowly push Fang out of lane. He's gone for Death Dance instead of the Essence Reaver because he needs the sustain actually to deal with any type of damage that Fang will throw back at him.
Whoop. Ooh. Dodging, Phosphorus Bomb, ults back for a bit of safety. Mob pops, misses the Fate's call. And Seraph, by the way, picked off Mash with the ulti. Cannon Barrage saying thank you.
The Ignite ticking as well as the ultimate from the Gangplank.
And Mash had Flash and heal up. He didn't think he'd die.
Yeah,
He
that's...
just didn't use Summoners.
Maybe the burst damage, maybe he was watching the Bard ultimate go off onto Ninja. Either way.
Whoa, the threat of a flash.
That's a tough-
Crumbs outsmarts Pyrian. His patience pays off, and Azuna missing a summon spell for just a body slam. There's an Anchor's gonna do a bit of damage to Crumbs. A nice hep.
Bard's done.
The stun comes in, but Nautilus ultied Crumbs. It's enough, though, for Hakuho to go down. Wrestle to the ground. Impulse getting a kill for themselves, and Mash is back alive. He can rejoin the team soon.
Yeah, mainly though because of the 2-turret lead and all the gold that Seraph has been able to plunder. The gold lead is still pretty substantial here, despite them being able to pick up a few kills on the backside. And it's just the mid lane minion wave that is technically pushable, but I just don't think they can get there with Seraph and Freeze clearing the way.
Good smite. Proxen took away the Krug and gets another one for himself. That puts Kindred at 4 marks right now. He got 3 pretty early on from some lucky Scuttle Crab choices, and unfortunately for him, he's never gotten a kill on Gragas or an assist, so the Lamb mark hasn't paid off yet for him.
Yeah, it means their attacks deal 5% of the enemy's current health as bonus physical damage. It's 1.25% per mark.
Oh, and Gates in a really bad spot. Jumps over the wall. Still, I believe, in death mark range, and Ninja gets the kill. Swaggily hops back, and he's going to be fine in the river. Solo kill. Well done.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't been a great game for Ninja for his signature Zed here, but he has been able to get a few kills once this game has gone more towards split pushing, and this is really the core of what Renegades wanted with the Gangplank pick and the Zed pick. Was Gangplank applying map pressure, Zed split pushing, and then trying to get kills and picks in the transition phases.
I don't see how much more they can get off this transition as Impulse have rejoined the mid lane, but they are, of course, without their support. That means Seraph was able to steal away blue buff by himself with no contest and no wards. Just got to walk up and take it. Renegade's getting farther ahead now. 5,000 is their lead. Looking to, again, climb from the depth of 10th place. They had only 1 win after, what, like 12 games or something. It was such an incredibly rough start for them.
They're either 1-11 or 1-12, but they've won 4 of their last 5, and are looking to make it 5 of 6 if you count this tiebreaker game. If they win even 2 of 3, or no, if they even win 3 of 5 in the promotion tournament,
Yeah.
they will be able to remain in the LCS. And then, honestly, have much higher aspirations for the next split, with that trade that came in at the end of the season really working wonders.
Yeah. Whoa! That's a bad misclick. Zonia's popped for nothing.
But no one saw it.
True.
So, if you Zonia's in the Fog of War, it still goes on cooldown.
But Ninja doesn't know about that.
Yeah.
So it didn't make a sound that he could hear. And I don't think we're going to expect to see an all-in that would not otherwise make sense. And maybe he'll be okay with that cooldown coming back pretty soon as it's taking back to normalcy. Impulse will just play a little bit safely until it does come back. Interestingly, Iceborne Gauntlet did come through for Fang, so he's really trying to actually add to his damage output here. Continuing, of course, to stack health and armor because the all-AD team of Renegades, but as a maybe Thornmail actually comes in next for him, maybe Zrot Portal, we'll see. Feng will just continue to be incredibly tanky, and as time goes on, I mean, yes, Gangplank scales up, but Nautilus eventually becomes invincible.
Exactly, and that's what Renegades would have to be a little bit scared of. I think their plan is that they're going to be split pushing anyways, so they're going to take Feng out by having Seraph somewhere else, and then look, sure, we'll team fight with Zed and Lucian against a team that has a hard time building armor. So I think that's generally their plan. Also, Iceborne Gauntlet is what he needs if he wants to have any type of threat onto Seraph.
Crumb Splash, Takuho caught again by Fate's Call. Plenty of burst damage down to half HP. Channels the ulti, knocks back 2. Ult for ult, Flash lost by 1. I guess technically an advantage for Impulse, but Feng teleported in for that one.
Right, and the split push will continue now for Renegades. Seraph on one side, Ninja on the other, and 3 others of Renegades in the middle. It's going to be very, very hard to deal with.
And more damage coming in for Proxen, actually, realizing that he's got a tanky enough tank in the Nautilus, and he's, of course, Kindred, going for either Static Shiv or Rapid Fire Cannon next up here. I wanted to see Hurricane. That'd have been sweet, just like throw Hurricane bolts everywhere with all your glorious % health damage and cut to the front line, but no, going for something a little bit more reserved. And now the flash engage up towards Mash, who will survive the death mark. He's going to be fine. Not too many hits actually landed there. Ninja lost ulti and ignite. Crumbs burned summoners too. No, that was the flashy burn to get away from Fate's Call earlier.
Yeah.
Mash burned summoners to get away.
Yeah, 80 carry summoners for mid lane summoners, so...
And beats Exhaust.
Kind of an even trade. Oh, yeah, triple summoner, not an even trade.
Yeah, advantage Renegades.
+1.
Plus, yeah, you're right, +1. Trade of ults otherwise. Okay, so good stuff. Ninja can feel good about that fight overall. Freeze continues to farm heavily, 276 minions at the 26-minute mark. He very rarely misses any mechanically, and he's often the guy acquiring that farm. And it's honestly just impressive watching how well Renegades are controlling these waves because, look, as the team has improved over the last few weeks and they've worked so hard to get better, when all 3 like carry laners are getting high numbers of farm, that means the team is always there to absorb them. It's not just mechanics, but also just placement. And that is a team goal right there. It's not hard when you're like double if and you just take away Pobelter's farm or something like that. It's like, no, they're all getting gold here.
Yeah, I agree with you right there. And when Froggen set the CS world record last week, that was with a spectator bug on CS.
Yeah.
For Gangplank, that is still in effect right now, or did that get fixed?
I imagine it would still be the same.
Basically, barrels that are chained together are counting towards Gangplank's own CS. So that is a slightly inflated 284 number. His farm is still very high, though, as we can see by his gold and the amount of gold plundered he has. But take that with a grain of salt. If you want to see his full CS numbers, it will be correct in the match history.
Don't worry, here in NA, salt is not something that we are afraid of having around, and we should be okay to lower the number a little bit. Taking shots in my own region. I don't know why. I have no reason to do this. I don't know why I did that. I apologize, everybody. I didn't mean it.
Oh, man.
Impulse.
Sarah's still pushing the bottom lane where there's no turret, so Impulse is trying.
Ooh, actually, this could be a partial collapse. I mean, Sarah's going to take plenty of damage here. Feng dropping him into half. He says, nice tries. He eats an orange and keeps running through the barrels. And actually, yeah, that is Feng's ulti burned for no chance yet at a chase. Proxen would rather steal the blue buff than try to fight the Gangplank right now. Devour in hand, plenty of money. I mean, Proxen is definitely huge. 140 minions is a lot. Individual gold-wise is more than 1,000 over Crumbs, but now looking for revenge right here. A nice knockback into a tackle. Proxen losing a ton of health. Has to ulti to stay alive, but he's still in the middle of a lot of enemy champions. Feng comes to join. That's an easy pickup for Freeze. 300 gold for him. Now it's on to Ninja, who jumps on top of Mash, and he'll try to get the kill, and in fact, he will get it. That is Ninja getting that one, and now running away with the Youmu's. Magical journey in. This should be what for Imperium, but it's not. Ninja gets the kill 1v3 and gets out.
And that is why Ninja is known for Zed right there. What an outplay, 1v3 and then escaping with the channel teleport of Seraph. This will mean Renegades get to turn on to Baron because of the 2 kills on the 80 carries.
And the season continues upward for Renegades, knocking down LCS teams repeatedly in the last few weeks of play. Next up, they face Challenger ones, so this can feel quite nice as Renegades now 7,000 up, wearing a Baron buff, recalling to reset the map.
Yeah, and we get to see COG playing the 1-3-1 so much in North American LCS. This is Renegades playing the 1-3-1. All the distractions happening on the side, and the team itself can collapse in very nicely. So Ninja gets all the damage down, pops them all of Malmortius for the overshield there. The death mark is what finishes him off. And then this is just a genius juke right here. He throws Oh my god, and Gate had to back off because of the teleport.
Wow. Well, good TP by Seraph, but he wasn't in combat. He did scare off the chase. And
Really,
Ninja making it happen.
I said genius juke. I mean, it was nice.
Yeah, it was solid.
Don't quote me on the genius juke. It was really good play.
Yeah.
By Ninja.
Jat, the over-complimenting analyst caster here.
Jeez, Jad, it's an 8th place tiebreaker. Why I have to be so complimentary? You're like, man, it's
To be fair, Renegades are definitely not playing like an 8th place team. They've put in so much work in the last few weeks. They've gotten some roster upgrades as well with Seraph and Ninja joining the roster. Yeah, and in talking with Crumbs earlier today, he said, look, I don't want to say where we're going to place next split, assuming they make it back in. He says, I just know we're going to be the most hard-working team. And that's going to put them where it puts them. But Renegades, honestly, playing some good League of Legends to end out the regular season here. Yes, they're headed to the promotion relegation tournament. Yes, that's a bad spot to be in, but maybe they can turn it around just like this fight. Yeah, Freeze down low, but gets an Azir delivery. Hakaho joins in, but a flash keeps Pyrian safe for now. Outside the Gangplank ulti, Seraph stuck in the front line. It's a 1-for-1. Azir and Gangplank both dead, but the shutdown went over to Gate. 300 gold on the support that he didn't really need.
Really good Tempered Fate there by Gate to set up that fight. I am a little confused by where Seraph was, but also it was a 4v5. And Ninja has Baron minions to open up the base of Team Impulse.
Now he's got to survive this one. Anchor toss won't land. Ulti's in onto the Kindred, who's trying to trade kills back and forth. Will survive the death mark, but now it's up to what Ninja can do. Cannot get away. That will be the 1-for-0. But mid lane was getting pushed. Turrets going down to the mid lane feels pretty good for Renegades.
Yeah, Team Impulse just can't seem to keep up with the diversified threats of Renegades. And before we got into that last replay, it was about the 1-3-1. It's how it reacts to what the other team tries to do to you. Every time one team moves somewhere, you get to go the other. So this is a move by Team Impulse to get on to Freeze and Crumbs, and Ninja sees that as an opportunity in the side wave to just run and try and take the turret. Hakuo and Crumbs delayed this fight long enough. I mean, Seraph flashed into the middle of the team, so really Renegades didn't even need to lose a single person because the fight was disengaged on the other side. This could have been 2 inhibitor turrets for nothing, or for 1 kill on a Ninja because he died regardless. But even with the mistake from Seraph there, it's still a highly favorable trade.
Yeah, baited by Exhaust and Barrier. It turns out he didn't do very much damage after all. It's a trade, and he's going to feel as good as he can. Mash has actually gone for Phantom Dancer as a Zeal item of choice. Instead of going for the Quicksilver Sash to survive Deathmark, he's just going to hope to debuff him for 12% less damage. That's his choice. It will keep his DPS up very high. He's 70% crit chance Corki. This is a painful champion. But Mash has to live to make that happen. And unfortunately, as the death leader of the team, that's not been the case so far for him.
No, definitely not. It's been a tough day for Mash. Had to play against Immortals, whom he got the pentakill right at the end of the game. On to them. He was
doing
very
pretty well.
far ahead of Wild Turtle in lane, but the team just could not transition. If they would have been able to win that, they would have been 8th place.
Now they have to fight for it. And this game is still, of course, able to be turned around. A 9,000 gold deficit. We've seen bigger turnarounds earlier today, so certainly a chance for Impulse, but Renegades are strangling them. 10,000 now the lead as they've cleared away some of the minions here. And they get farther and farther ahead. There has not been an answer to the split push. We've not seen anyone able to 1v1 the Zed played by Ninja, nor anyone able to really fight Seraph's Gangplank either. And so far, the tankiness is just not enough. Yes, Thornmail's in. Yes, Randwoods is next here for Fang, but look, they don't have to target you. Ninja has the freedom of target selection, and Seraph is a global ultimate that hits everybody.
Yeah, and I think more importantly, there is no one on the team that can deal with Seraph in a split push aside from the armor.
EP flank. They're going for the play right now. The Nautilus coming in from behind. This has to be the engage for Impulse, and they will find Seraph. Knocked back onto 1. Ulti onto Freeze, but there's no follow-up here. Gangplank ulti buys time, and Pyrian is now low on Azir. A magical journey out. Ninja looks for a kill, and there goes the super tank of Nautilus. A 1-for-0 as Freeze continues in. Looking for the fight, looking for the kill. It's going to go be a shutdown for Proxy, but traded right back there. Thank you very much, Seraph. Gets a red buff for his troubles, and Ninja right back on a split push duty. It's a 3 versus 4 on the map. Renegades should take double inhibitor, maybe more.
Yep, Renegades just disengaging that fight long enough to let Ninja go in, and then they are still able to pick up a couple kills. Freeze actually zoned Pyrian out of that fight with the culling, which then left Fang all by his lonesome. And even though they're all physical damage, it still does damage to the tank, and they slowly took the Nautilus down in the middle of the team. Even bigger lead for Renegades.
Even bigger. Lord Dominic's regards in for Freeze, so at least he's got the armor penetration. And when the Maw got popped, he got some lifesteal and stayed alive a little bit longer. We can watch that fight again, and this is right as Fang TP's in. It's the dodge on the Tempered Fate.
Yeah.
And the rest of Impulse aren't even in range still, and no one can hit Freeze as he kites up to the side.
Yeah, knocking Kindred back at the start of that fight is a very good Poppy ultimate, but then Fang stays in because he started from that far in the back. And the Gangplank ultimate takes up the whole lane, so no one can realistically follow through. Here, though, it's a nice burst of damage by Proxen to at least take out Freeze. But he ends up falling, and because Ninja was split pushing on the side, that's 2 inhibitors down, which will still be down by the time Baron and Dragon respawn. So Renegades will be looking to take a lot of objectives, or they're just going to use the threat of those objectives to open up a 3rd inhibitor. And
they could, of course, easily do that. Top lane and mid lane are both going to push in pretty cleanly. Ninja has the mark over him. We'll see if Proxy can get the mark of the Ninja, but that's not super likely, as he's been hard to kill so far this game. A very elusive player. Impulse clearing over the mid lane, and Zed is split push against Nautilus. And you'd think I'm going to check the number. 355 armor Nautilus would survive as Zed, but that's not really been the case so far in this one. Black Cleaver on.
Black Cleaver Zed, he's got the Wrath Elixir for a little bit. Lifesteal and Spellvamp, it would be a fun fight to watch. I agree with you that he wouldn't be able to kill Fang. Don't think Fang could kill him either, though. He'd just run away with the Ghostblade.
Yeah.
But even so, you know, Fang's trying his hardest. He built the armor items. He got 300 CS. That's just not enough.
Not enough right now. Easy Dragon pickup. What? Hakuho with the last hit. Well done. 4 picked up now for Renegades. So in the absence of split pushing to death, they can always play for Dragon 5 in 6 minutes, and that'll be a nice, easy way into the base as well. Baron, of course, on the field, and Renegades heading over to control that side of the map. There are a few wards from Impulse, but they're dying quickly as Crumbs, wearing a blue elixir, gets rid of some of the vision and ensures that this side of the map is clear of vision. So now, under the guise of night, the stealth of the fog of war, they push in for the Baron. There is no one even trying to stop this one.
Bardolt will try, but where else are they going to go?
He bought them 5 seconds, then magically greenied out. I don't even know why you burn the cooldown.
Yeah. Desperation freak.
I suppose so.
Gotta do something.
It doesn't even deal damage. Like, I understand if you're Gangplank or like Ezreal and you're like, yeah, maybe it kills it, but it's like, maybe I buy 4 seconds. Sick, dog.
There is really no positive outcome from that Tempered Fate. Yeah, and now it's 2 inhibitors exposed. Maybe they get a 5v5 team fight and can win it.
Took some good damage in the front line. Fang knocked into the team, but he's okay. He's the tank. He's okay taking this damage. And now the Kindred ults up as well. Fang gets healed a fair bit, but no, Freeze is going to grab that one. They've still crushed on the tank. 975 damage done by a barrel crit into the queue for 643. Gate's still alive. Takes a summoner heal. The double stun on as well. Ninja's really low. Puts the shadow in, can't look at the kill, turret's dead. Goodbye to Proxen. That's a 2 for 0 so far. On to the final inhibitor. They're all still alive. 5 versus 3. Renegades to salvage the back half of the split. On pace to make 8.
They're a little bit low, but the minions are really powerful, so I think this one's over.
This one's going to be over. In they go. Bardolt did buy some time, but it won't keep the Nexus invulnerable. Last few strikes to come in. There's not enough damage to push them out this one. Some celebratory champion kills at the end. A nice double kill for Seraph, and an 8th place finish for Renegades, dropping TIP to 9.
Yeah, great job by Renegades here. Finishing the week essentially 3-0.
Yeah.
Beating Impulse, Echo Fox, and now Impulse again. All the way from 10th to 8th, which doesn't sound like it was a far ride, but at one point in the season, they were 2 games below everyone else in the standings. They came back in a big way.
Yeah, really big deal for them. Renegades saying that their trademark is going to be hard work and improvement, and it's been one of those teams that have kept their heads high. We mentioned this from Team Dignitas in the previous game, but Renegade's another one that, in the face of adversity, just tried twice as hard as before. And it goes to show you that, yes, okay, look, player upgrades help. Seraph has been doing much better than either RF or Crumbs has all LCS long, and Ninja's been doing better than Alex Itch has. There is, of course, an element of player upgrades. But the constant hard work has shown up here for Renegades, winning a lot of games in the back half of the split. I think they are definitely better than the 8th place team would sort of have you believe based on standings. These guys have taken down some top-tier competition like TSM. They've beaten a playoff team this month.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it also makes that 10th seed all the more punishing. Team Dignitas will have to beat TDK. And then, if they do that, they have to play against Renegades. So, if you're Renegades right now, you're actually feeling pretty good because your expectations at the start of the year, maybe decently high, but then midway through week 7, they were sitting at 1-12.
Right.
And things got way better from there.
And smiles all around now for Renegades. Now, you've seen that they had beaten Team Dignitas back in week 7. That could just be their opponent to get back into the LCS. They could probably do that again. In fact, there's just so many chances for Renegades to make it back in. 3 of the 4 teams in the same seed as them are going to make it back in. This seems like a team that will be remaining in the North American LCS. If the quality of play remains at least this high, and they've done better as well, this is a squad that I think can continue to look promising as they move towards their next fights, basically.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting journey for them. For Team Impulse as well, it's just adding on to some of the disappointment, right? The very start of the year, it's almost kind of the reverse of Renegades. The expectations for Team Impulse is that they were not going to be able to do anything. The roster came together at the last second.
Yeah.
People were thinking they were going to be awful. And then they started off really, really well. They started the season 3-2.
Right.
But since then, they've only been able to pick up the 2 wins. They end the season on a very long lose streak.
Right.
And now they're still in a pretty tough situation. That promotion tournament will be very interesting.
It's been a rough situation for Impulse. We'll see if they can pull it back together for the end here when we will see them up against Apex as their first round opponent in that promo tournament. But to wrap up our day's coverage, let's send it over to Dash, Kobe, and Zyrene in the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Here we are one last time for the regular season in the spring split. Renegades coming out with that victory, moving themselves to 8th place. I mean, Jat already hit on it. It doesn't sound like a huge leap, 10th to 8th, but the implications of it are massive.
Yeah, that means that they end up playing the winner of Dignitas versus TDK, and they also are immediately into the double elimination portion of the promotion tournament. And this has been an incredible run for Renegades. They won Game 1, Week 1, and then they lost their next 12 games. And now they've won 5 of their last 6, and they swept the bottom of the table, taking out Dig, Impulse, Echo Fox, and Tip again, as well as TSM in there.
Yeah.
So they beat all of those teams at the bottom from 6 down.
Yeah, only team they lost to in those 6 games was Cloud9, who finishing 3rd, in a sense, a forgivable loss. So just a massive improvement there for Renegades. They're going to be coming into the promotion tournament as favorites. Now on the side of Impulse, they do still have that 9th place seed. So as you mentioned, Zyrene, they will also be in the double elim portion of the promotion tournament. So they at least are allotted a loss in the best of 5.
The small pin, we're not 10th.
Yeah, you just have to win one of 2 BO5s.
Right. And so, but for them, this has been a season, a tumultuous season for Team Impulse. I mean, Jad mentioned at first it was a question of whether or not they'd be able to field a roster even. They were at least able to do that. They had a fairly successful start, hit a similar rut to Renegades. They just haven't been able to dig themselves out of it necessarily.
They only borrowed Seraph for so long.
What can you do? What can you do?
I think Seraph has just been a fantastic team player for this squad. I've said it multiple times where he takes pressure off of Freeze, and he's able to play so many different things that now we don't know what Renegades is really capable of. They swept the bottom of the table, 6 on down, and where were they actually going to end up if they had the squad from the beginning? Maybe they'll make it back in, and they're favorites to do so. But I'm excited to see this squad in summer come together, because in the middle of the season, I was kind of like, okay, well, they're bottom of the table, 1 win. Now I'm excited to watch Renegades games. I'm really excited to watch.
Yeah, and Kobe, we watched in this game, I mean, Ninja come out with that Zed. We mentioned Seraph relieving pressure from Freeze, but Ninja's also stepping up to the plate and offering examples of games where he can also be a carry. And his Zed play today definitely opened up the map. I mean, there were concerns about too much AD, maybe not being able to play into tanks on the side of Team Impulse, but he was successful with it.
Yeah, there's no question that this current roster of Renegades leaps and bounds ahead of what they were working with before, and they've had a lot more success now. So people definitely have high hopes for them. I think that, though, worrying about Team Impulse now is a main concern of all the Team Impulse fans, because they've had kind of the opposite trend here, where they started out, they actually got some wins when they were doing the roster scrambles. All these bottom teams had roster scrambles of their own. Impulse actually got a decent amount of wins, when they had Seraphine and when Gate was moving around playing all these other roles. They snagged some wins early, but lately, heading into the promotion tournament, they are actually, losing momentum. So.
Yeah. Well, with that, the regular season of the 2016 NA LCS Spring Split is complete. So let's see how the teams finished out. Immortals is in first, with Counterlogic Gaming taking second place. Cloud9 finished third, with Liquid taking fourth, go figure. And Energy Esports owns the head-to-head with TSM, putting them ahead of in the standings, in fifth. Echo Fox is in seventh, and after a tiebreaker win, Renegades finishes in eighth, ahead of Team Impulse, and Team Dignitas ends the spring season in 10th. Now, with the results of the regular season on the books, let's check out our postseason schedule. Immortals and CLG have grabbed first-round buys, and with their first and second place finish, which means number 3 Cloud9 will take on 6th seed TSM in our first quarterfinal showdown. Then on the other side of the bracket, Team Liquid will go up against 5th seed Energy. So, Zyrene, help me out here with the dynamic seeding. How will it play out in the later rounds of the tournament?
All right, so dynamic seeding means that Immortals, being the number 1 seed, will face the lowest seed coming out of those first 2 matches. So if TSM wins, they have to play Immortals. If Cloud9 wins, they play Counterlogic Gaming, and then Liquid or Energy, whoever the winner of that is, plays whichever one is left. So the 4-5 actually doesn't really have too much effect on the dynamic seeding. The 3-6 match does. So the winner of Cloud9 TSM pretty much decides the fate of Liquid Energy.
Right, so Liquid and Energy, they're rooting for an upset, essentially,
Yes.
so that they don't have to play Immortals, if that's who they're more afraid of. And who's to say, really, with the way that CLG's been playing recently, both of those teams are first and second place teams looking quite strong going into the playoffs. Here now, though, are the 5 players who turned heads this week in their positions. We're going to start in the top lane. Our OP player is Huni.
Yeah, it's got to be Huni. He had such a strong weekend here, and we just saw it today as well on the Echo, carrying from that top lane time and time again for Immortals. And he's kept it up pretty much all split long.
And then we go to the jungle. We're going to find Team Liquid's Dardoch.
Yeah, Dardoch, a shot caller for the team, but also had a great Elise game yesterday.
Did I say jungle?
And today...
I don't know if you did. Did you say jungle? Regardless, we're in the jungle now.
It's all right. Now we're in the jungle.
I'm always in the jungle.
Yeah, that's the way you view the game. But anyway, he played Elise, he played Rek'Sai as well, and he dominated Rush on Lee Sin. And he was able to make flash Rek'Sai knockup plays, and he was a big part of how they were able to come out with a 2-0 weekend and nab 4th for the TL squad.
Next up, OP mid laner is his teammate, Phoenix. Big thing with Phoenix here is, he's been consistent throughout the split, but this weekend in particular, playing Lulu on day 1 and Zed on day 2, showing 2 distinctly different play styles, being able to fulfill them to great success for his team. He's very much a flexible mid laner, kind of returning to form the way we would have expected, becoming a playmaker for the team. Moving on to the AD carry role, none other than another Team Liquid member, Piglet.
Yeah, he definitely deserves it. Piglet, he had one game where the team built a comp completely around him in the Vayne game with extra supports for him to carry. He succeeded there. Then he also took a game where he was the flex pick, and he was able to take the Corki, even though it was picked early, flex it down bottom, even though it's not one of his favorite champions, carried hard in that game as well. So he's doing it all for his team.
Yeah, the fact that he performed as well as he did on that flex pick, being able to be flexible for his team as well. Finally, in the support position, we're going to find Afromoo.
Yeah, Afromoo shot called CLG to a 2-0 weekend, completely clean, and second place in getting them that first round bye. Also, his Bard yesterday combined with his Soraka play today, he's showing a little bit more in the rotations and also just completely causing so much pressure to the point that CLG as a team only gave up 4 deaths this weekend.
Oh, wow. Actually, I didn't know that statistic. That is surprising. Soraka definitely a less flashy champion, but you can tell how clean CLG's games are, and a lot of it is coming from Afromoo. The player, though, that claims the title for most valuable player this week is Dardoch. Dardoch used the early pressure of Elise to great success against Team Dignitas and was instrumental in Liquid's 4th place finish after a 20 KDA performance on Rek'Sai against Cloud9. Playing against the Udyr, recognizing how Udyr was going to have to farm and being effective in the early game was massive.
And against Rush Lee Sin, nonetheless. Yeah. Now, it was a lot of team play as well, and that aspect does come in. Similar to Afromoo, he's one of the shot callers that's maybe not gotten as much credit. Everybody focuses on High. Dardoch as well is one of the main shot callers for this team. So not only does he have great individual performances in the jungle, but he's also one of the main shot callers and a big part of why Team Liquid had such clean team play.
And another thing that I was very interested in about his Rek'Sai was normally I see him going with this build that's just complete damage, right? He's a carry type player. Even when he plays Elise, right, he's going full damage, Abyssal Scepter and stuff like that. This was a tank build from him, which was a far cry from how he started the season off in Challenger, being like, well, I'm gonna buy Red Smite and I'm just gonna build Warrior and deal damage. So he's stepping up in that.
I love the 4.4% kill share.
Yeah.
Because he was 1-0 and 19. So he had like 87% kill participation, but then he only managed to snag 1 kill. It's just a fun statistic. Well, the regular season has concluded, but there's more league action coming your way next week with the European Summer Promotion Tournament. Thursday, you can catch the first best-of-5 series with Giants taking on challenger team Copenhagen Wolves. That will get underway at 9 a.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Central European time. That's going to do it for us, though. So for myself and the entire live broadcast crew, thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon.
Now we get a respite.
A respite.
Welcome everybody to this side of the world. Got game 1 coming right up. It's Renegades taking on Echo Fox.
I have laser in 1. Corki is here. Tony, don't chase.
Greg is Nice.
Good.
Nice.
Oh, fucking God.
Renegades has kited this one out. It's up again. Time for On the Hunt to come back up. Freeze is in the front, and Freeze is dealing the DPS. And after tooth and nail, the Renegades take down Echo Fox. To stop the team of Liquid from getting through the turret, but Cloud9 is just getting run over right now. It seems like the domino effect since the first kill.
I can go on rush. Alright, just get you in. My Lee Sin's better.
Team Liquid take down Cloud9.
Play with Corki, play with Corki.
Yeah, I'm running out.
I'm running out too. I got colors zap. Turn around.
Yeah,
Just try to run. I can ult.
Penta, give him Penta.
Give me Penta. Give me Penta.
Give him the Penta. Oh, what?
Immortals takes down Impulse.
My mom watched every LCS game as well.
Really?
Yeah, my mom says she likes the clown fiestas. Those are her favorite.
Really?
No, she didn't say that.
Keep going. I got you guys. I'm going in. Go. I died. Go top. Nice job. Big 9 in the game, I think.
Counter Logic Gaming to secure second place in the regular season. Double lift dies. He gets solo step going the wrong way.
Slowly. I'm on Puppy.
Corki down.
Puppy.
Hey, I have a TP.
Nice, we get better.
Here's the team fight. Azir with the knockback, doing plenty of damage, getting him off the Lancer spike, but they're shut down. Double lift, holding on for dear life, and they've done it. A double kill for double lift. Now a 1 versus 3. Bjergsen to save the season. Energy takes down TSM in a chaotic final game of the season for them. A lot of damage on there. They're going for that play. Oh no! He gets betrayed! And 1 hit will do it! Oh, scumbag Hakuho! 975 damage done by a barrel crate into the queue for 643. Gates still alive. 8th place finish for Renegades, dropping TIP tonight.